Align and Awaken with Mother Earth Rising podcast. Let's rise and heal together with me, Pippa, your Mother Earth healer. Hey everyone, welcome back. So I've been taking a long break from social media for the past month, and it has flown by so quickly. And I don't really need to give a reason why I was off social media, because this is the message of what I want to say today. You know, we're always changing what we want to do. We're always making different choices. We're always, doing things that we want to do. It's part of being a human. We get to choose. We have free will. But ultimately, we don't need to explain why we do these things, because ultimately it's because what we want to do. Sometimes people won't agree with what you're doing. They won't think, that's the right path for you. They may, go against what you're doing, or they may say, good on you, do whatever feels right. And that's something that I would always, tell people to do is do things that are just meant for you. I woke up one day and I said, right, I'm deleting social media for a while. And it was just a calling that I had. And I'm glad that I did, because in the last 4 and a bit weeks, I have just been going inward, spending time with Chris, because obviously we're still separated because of COVID. I have been resting, retreating, growing, doing shadow work, doing deep healing work. And I just feel like I'm, a different person every day that I wake up. I feel more aligned. I didn't feel very inspired at the time. So I took retreat, and that's what we do. Some animals would go into hibernation, and I would say that's kind of something that I did. I went into hibernation for a little while, and it has done me the world of good. Now, this episode, I wanted to talk to you about surrendering and what that means, within our life, and how to let go, because it's probably one of the hardest things I have ever had to do in my life. It's just the whole concept of surrendering, the whole energy behind letting go. It really is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. But in doing that, I'm able to help others, and I'm able to discuss a little bit on this podcast now about what I have done to surrender, and that I am continuing surrendering, because it's a never-ending process. So you all know that I read the Tao. I practice the Tao. It's something that I've been reading for the past few months. I first heard of it through Wayne Dyer. And as you all know, Wayne Dyer is one of my greatest spiritual teachers, and I follow a lot of his work. And part of me does think I'm following on his work too, which is amazing. So reading the Tao Te Ching, it really helps me to connect how I live to how nature is supposed to be living, that original nature, that original way of being. So I want you to just think now of a tree. So just picture any tree. And in the UK, we're in spring right now. And one thing that this is how I resonate with life, is when it gets to spring, a tree will naturally start to, grow the buds, grow leaves, different flowers will start to, bloom. So for instance, a tree doesn't get to spring and start to shout at the universe to say, when am I getting my leaves? How long is it going to take? How many leaves will I get? How big will they be? How long will they last? Because it makes me laugh, because ultimately that's what we do when we don't surrender. One thing that I've learned as well is, some of you may resonate with this. I was taught a few years ago, because I watched The Secret, about the law of attraction and how important that was. And then I read Think and Grow Rich, and I read all these books about manifesting and getting all your desires and things like that. And I don't disagree with what they say, but where I am at now in my journey, I don't resonate with that teaching anymore. Because ultimately that teaching was about having a goal and being obsessed with it and thinking of every single day. And obviously now, because I'm so in tune with the Tao, and I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita now, so I'm getting really into our natural way, the original way of living. And they talk about law of vibration. So ultimately, Buddha says you only lose what you cling to. So if you're obsessing over a goal, obsessing over a desire, if whatever it is you want to manifest, a man, a woman, a job, a house, money, whatever it is, when we obsess over it, I truly believe we take away the vibration, because that obsessive energy isn't where it needs to be. So I think of law of vibration, and that is how I resonate with it. So ultimately, the situation I'm in right now is I'm not with Chris physically. I'm in the UK and he's in New Zealand, and we've been parted for over 6 months now. Now that is rubbish. It's not what I want. It's been hard. I've hated every minute of it, but my higher self will always say to me, this is happening for your greater good. Now, when I drop into ego and Chris will drop into ego, we'll start to be like, why is this happening? It's not fair. And that is what I want to say to you now, is about how that surrendering process is so important in anything that you're doing. Because again, like the trees, nature, animals, they don't sit around going, when's this happening? How long is it going to take? They naturally grow their leaves, and they naturally fall away their leaves and flowers when it comes to autumn. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a dharma. Some flowers last longer than others. Some trees last longer. Some trees take longer to bloom. Everything is just in a divine order in nature. And that is what I want you to connect to, is you have that too within you. Everything. I always talk about this on previous podcasts if you've listened to them, but for those 9 months that you're in your mum's tummy, everything that you needed was placed exactly there for you. From the moment of conception to the moment you were born, you didn't need to think, ask, do anything. Everything, you were fed, you would go to the toilet, you were nurtured, everything. And as soon as we come out, it's the same. We're fed, we're watered. And the problem is, as we start to develop this ego, that is when we come away from our natural way of being. We come away from our original nature. And that is why I love the Tao so much, because the Tao teaches you to go back to that original nature. And how we do that is by getting in nature and connecting to nature. Because surrendering is surrendering your whole desires to the universe. Because if you don't trust the universe, if you don't trust in this energy, in this life force, it's going to put up another force. If you're trying to force a goal, force a desire, it's going to create a counter force. It's the law of physics. A force, one force will create another force. So it's like letting go of those desires, letting go. So yeah, have goals, have desires, write them down, speak to the universe. I agree with all of that. The universe needs to know what you want and be specific. One of my biggest goals right now is to get to Chris as soon as possible, to start my life with him, because I miss him terribly. But I know in this time apart from him, we've grown so much as a couple. It's been so tough and so hard, and we've had really down days, and we've done some mega shadow work. We've triggered each other. We've done so much ego work, and ultimately, when we look at it from a bird's eye view, it's beautiful, like what we're actually going through, because it's teaching us so much. So letting go of your desires, affirming to the universe, I let all of my desires go. I surrender them to you, universe, God, divine source. Show me what you've got, because that natural flow is happening, but the only thing that's stopping it from happening is you, because you're stood in your own way. It's for how I dealt with it was like, well, how am I going to know when I'm supposed to do this, or how am I going to know when I'm supposed to leave something, and it would literally wreck my brain for days. But everything will show up in the exact right moment, divine timing. And if you're meant to struggle, if you're going through a suffering right now, if you're struggling, we have to be able to see it from a different perspective and not be in the victim mode of why this is happening to me, because it's happening for you for a greater reason. Everything you've ever been through in your life has been temporary, right? Even if that's feeling good, feeling bad, feeling neutral. Every emotion, every feeling you have doesn't last. Everything changes. That's why this human experience needs to be lived, because some days you'll feel on top of the world, some days you'll feel like crap. And we'll all go through different stages in life. And this is why I came away from social media as well, because I was finding it so hard to surrender and let go when I was on social media because of the things I was reading, the things I was seeing, and the journey that I'm on right now. I am letting go even deeper, of my ego and, all of that fakeness and the beliefs that aren't real. And I'm connecting back to my original nature even more so. Like again, a tree doesn't stand there in a forest and look at its opponent and think, my tree is bigger than yours. My branches are thicker than yours. They're longer. My trunks go deeper than yours. No, a tree will stand tall, proud of itself, and it will just keep growing its leaves, letting its leaves go every single year. And that is how I want you to flow in your life. Again, we're humans and we have cycles. We go through the same cycles hugely, we go through them every single week, every single month. So especially for women, as there's a previous podcast about it, we go through our seasons with our cycle, our period, and that, that we can connect to that. But so do men. We're parts of nature. We're the same energy in a tree is within you. So if you can just fully let go and say to the universe, I fully let go. I surrender all of my desires. I surrender all of that I desire to you. Show me what you've got, because that's what the universe is here for. It's that invisible energy that is working every single second of every single day. Even though time is an illusion, it'll keep going, keep going, keep going. And everything you need in this lifetime will show up for you at the exact right moment. And we have to have that trust. This has been the greatest lesson for me, being away from my partner for 6 months. I have not wanted to be here. I've wanted to be with him. I've pulled my hair out. I've got angry. I've been annoyed. I've slated New Zealand. I've slated the UK. I've been in that anger, and then I've had to let it go because I'm meant to be here. I'm meant to be in the UK right now. And I said to Chris, even though I'm where I'm meant to be, it doesn't necessarily work, it's where I want to be. It's where I'm meant to be. And there's a big difference there. Half of the time we're not where we want to be, but yes, we are where we are meant to be. There is a huge difference. And that is where the victim mode and the ego needs to be let go, because again, the ego wants some level of control. And obviously this is another podcast episode, but obviously, personally, I went through a lot of bowel issues growing up as a child, and I've been, overcoming a lot of the fears and the beliefs and the trauma around that right now because of what I went through. And it is really fascinating what has been coming up for me. Each of you will have your own traumas, you'll have your own belief systems and your own habits. So it's learning to let go of everything, just relinquish that control in all areas of your life. And let the universe take over and fully trust. Just trust the universe completely, because it will never see you struggle if it isn't meant. Again, we can really it's easy to fall into the trap of, why is the universe doing this to me? Why me? I'm annoyed at the universe. And it's just a natural thing to say because we think, that the universe is against us. The universe isn't against us. The universe is always working for us. This is what we signed up for. You chose every single struggle. You chose every single reward, every single celebration. Everything you go through, you chose it. It's trying to find the blessing in everything and letting go and letting God. That's something Wayne will say all the time. Let go and let God, because God, the universe, divine source, however you resonate, is working for you, not against you. And everything that is happening to you is happening for you, not to you. So it's seeing your life in that higher perspective and not in a victim mode, and surrender. And as Gabby Bernstein says, when you think you've surrendered, surrender more. And that's what I've been going through. I thought I surrendered and I hadn't. And I was like, no, I need to surrender more because, again, you get frustrated, you get irritable. And it's a natural human process, but we have to keep learning. We have to keep growing. So I have gone back on social media today just because I wanted to. I felt the call in, and obviously I have clients on there and stuff. So I have been just having a break from it, and I've definitely created new habits around that too. So the message today was about surrendering and letting go to the universe. If you have any questions regarding this topic, please reach out to me. I'd love to chat to some of you. And again, I'm still doing my distant Reiki, which is going amazingly well, especially with being a Reiki master now. I have the Reiki master energy, which has been beautiful. Definitely this work as well that I'm going through has been, since I became a Reiki master, I've been definitely ascending up with that energy. And also I do my ego coaching, which is really, really exciting work. It's helping you ditch that toxic ego to own your purpose and divinity. And that's ultimately my purpose. And that's what I love to help women with. So if any of you are resonating with that, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from some of you. Give me a follow on Instagram. It's Mother Earth Healer Pippa. And you can check out my links on there too. And I would be so grateful if you could share this podcast on your social medias, if you could leave me a 5-star review. It really helps with getting the message out there. And it also shows other people that everyone's listening and they're taking a lot of valuable information from it. So I'm sending you so much love wherever you are in the world, and I'll be back soon. Take care, guys. Bye.